Hello there, and welcome back to the JustNabz podcast with me, Nabila, and
Nabil, hello.
hi, how you doing?
Quite fine, thank you. How about you?
I'm good.
I feel like I've been always saying quite fine.
Yeah,
I,
no, I mean, there was a few times where I wasn't fine, so
like
we
if,
did talk about that.
yeah,
But how are you really feeling?
I'd say I don't know. I'd say I'm okay because in a spectrum of not fine to fine. Generally speaking, I feel I'm okay. But personally, in my very personal spectrum, it's a very busy and hard period. So yeah. Um, on average, I'd say quite fine. It's appropriate.
Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, how 10 being extremely fine and 1 being shit, how do you feel?
Mm, I'd say 8, but 3 points are because it's nearly my birthday. So I'm super excited.
Yay, birthday month!
Yeah, so I'm a narcissist, and I'm egomaniac. So with my birthday coming up,
People in Feb love their birthdays
yeah, of
like a
course.
lot, and they always make it about their birthdays, and they'll never let you forget that it's their birthday.
Now, okay, I used to do that, but this year, for the very first time, I actually forgot that my birthday is coming up, and it's the very first time in my life, and that speaks volumes about how busy this period is for me. And so, yeah, the thing about your birthday is that all the attention is supposed to be on you. So, if you're a narcissist, that's the very best gift, the very best present you could give me.
Shocking behavior, that. Anyways, it's also the month of love, so maybe that has something to do with it as well. Or there's probably an astrological explanation. Isn't it you're Pisces?
No, Aquarium? How's it called?
Oh,
Yeah,
Aquarius. Aquarius.
Aquarius.
Okay. So if someone is into astrology and can explain this behavior, please get in touch with us and let us know why.
I have so many friends that are into this, and I've had this. I've had myself analyzed by them, and it turns out I'm really full of myself, and
Oh,
uh,
yeah, we know that.
yeah, didn't need astrology for that, did you?
No, 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 not really. So, this month we said we are going to focus on all things love, whether you are single or in a relationship, or you hate this month, or you just enjoy it because of the discounted chocolates after the 14th of Feb, pointing at myself here, or whether you genuinely just enjoy love. Like, we're going to just cover anything to do with the topic, well, as best as we can. So, this week I was thinking, I actually found this picture of my first Valentine's that I can remember. It was a newspaper clipping that my mother kept of me and this little white boy, and on Valentine's Day with like a heart, and I was wearing this little white dress, and very cute but very random. Like, why would you make kids be Valentines?
Hmm.
I think I was about 3 or 4 years old.
Bloody hell!
Yeah. So I think that was my first Valentine.
And who's the
Do
bo- who
you do you
who's the
remember
boy?
your first Valentines or your first love or crush?
Yeah,
I don't even like, when you're that young, what do you even know about love and
right.
people from the opposite sex?
So I reckon when we were in elementary school, we used to have like during Valentine's Day, we used to make a little little tricks, but just for fun. It wasn't really anything serious. The very first serious Valentine's Day for me came in, I think it was my third year in middle school. So I was like 13, I reckon. And I had this very hard crush on a classmate of mine. And yeah, I remember I went in the morning before going to school. I went by and bought some candies and some chocolate, and I went to school. And during the break, I just left everything in her backpack, and and I was so embarrassed. It was my very first time making a present for Valentine's Day, and that didn't really turn out to work because apparently at first she didn't even know who left it because I didn't even know it or anything. So
Oh my
she had
word.
literally no idea. Yeah, and later on it came out that it was me, and I had the very opposite effect because I've been like made fun of rather than yeah. So I didn't really get the end result I fancied, but yeah, that was my very first approach to Valentine's Day.
I feel like I wouldn't even have even, I don't know, it's like I just never considered, if it wasn't for the kids around me in school, I would have never taken notice of boys or Valentines or romance. Like I was always just in my own world, in my own bubble. I think the only like yeah, I didn't even start reading romance novels until high school. I was just such an innocent little child, so oblivious.
I don't know. I've been quite the opposite. I've always had this fancy thing about love and relationships and everything. So I did have an eye for the girls. So yeah, I think I had an opposite approach, but I see where you're coming from. I think that in that age, during puberty hits and all these things going on in our teenage years, and we end up approaching some things just like love in very different matters, and the environment you find yourself in can play a huge role in that. And it can bring you to have a specific perception of life or not. I mean, let's make just an example. And this is something going on even nowadays, and even in high school when there's a boy going around and messing with multiple girls. He's a Chad. He's someone to be respected, isn't it? Like an alpha male. While on the other side, if a girl
Yeah,
does
if
just
a
that, yeah,
woman had to do it, it's
exactly,
like, oh,
exactly.
no, you are,
She's a
oh, she's
whore.
such a whore.
Exactly. And
Oh, she's such a slut. She slept with him and him and him. Oh, her body count is so high.
absolutely. And the other thing that triggers me is that, of course, the end result is that some girls end up not being as open as they used to be, and they then trigger the opposite reflection on the male counterpart, who starts saying, "Oh, okay, that girl doesn't go with anyone, so she's not someone even to be talked to," and they start maybe putting some girls in an angle and excluding them from that kind of society. This is something messed up, and that is why, and I will never get bored or tired of saying this. We need sexual education in every single school, in every single country
Yes,
in the world,
definitely.
for so many reasons. First of all, for approaching sex itself, and second of all, in order to put some perspective in some young guys and some young girls who have literally lost any kind of perspective on this
So
matter.
for you, like if you heard that a girl, she'd slept with like this person, this person, this person, if a girl tells you, I mean, she doesn't need to, but if she does tell you, like, she's had this many partners, would it be a turn off for you? Like, would you be like, I'm not into her anymore?
So,
You personally?
no, absolutely not. It used to be like that, and that's where I'm coming from. It used to be like that, but I did have to put things into perspective, and at the moment now it doesn't at all, because I do mess with girls when I'm single, when I'm alone, let's say. I do mess with girls however much I can and I want. And I feel that that freedom, that liberty shouldn't be based on gender, sex, whatever. It should be for anyone. Everyone is free to do whatever they want. And as long as you're not cheating, I don't have any turn off as far as that's
Do you know what's really creepy for me, or like really off-putting, is like, so as a Muslim woman, you are not allowed to, engage in sexual activities or be intimate with a man, or even, just you can't even technically be alone in a room with a man
before marriage.
yeah, before marriage,
Isn't
without,
that for boys as well?
your brother or father in the present in your presence.
Isn't that for boys as well? Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah. Well, obviously, if the woman can't be with a man, yeah, the man can't be alone with a woman
Yeah.
either. So that clashing with the pressures of society to, like, you know find the one and date and sleep with someone before a certain age, there's like as a teenager, you are, you know is my religion, like, how important is my religion to me compared to what my peers think of me? And yeah, I think like a lot of people find this difficult. But either way, it's like, so if you decide, your religion is important to you and you're going to stick to your values, fair enough. But then you get labeled like, oh, she's such a prude and whatever, and then, you know it gets you go later on in life, and you still haven't, lost your virginity. And then you tell, like, guys, like, I don't know why guys, like, this is the first thing they ask you, or one of the first things they ask you, if you're still a virgin. And I'm just like, first of all, that doesn't matter to you. It's none of your business. And also, virginity is a concept, like, people consider, anyways, that's something else. But yeah, and then, so back to what I was saying, like, what I find creepy is like when you tell them that you have never slept with someone before, they're like, oh, so I'm gonna be your first. Oh, I'm gonna make it so good for you. And I'm just like, ew, can you just,
that's the opposite
gross,
thing.
like, shut up. It's the worst.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Bloody hell.
Like your piece of meat, like,
Yeah.
ready for their taking. And then
Exactly.
that just puts you off. It's like, ew,
And
ew.
and that's also biologically wrong, because if it's your first time, it's never going to be, so it's not Twilight, it's not a bloody movie. If it's your first time, it's going to hurt to some extent. I'm talking about girls. And it's hardly going to be very as pleasant as you think. So
I don't think it's going to be romantic at all. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, it's. I mean, I'm not. I don't have like, I'm not a girl, so yes, I might be wrong, but I'm basing myself on what I've gathered, infos I've gathered in the past. At no point you should think as a boy that you're going to make her first time the best time ever. That's not going to happen, and you should not even try, because if biologically, if you go too hard, that's going to mess to some extent with the girl herself. So please don't do that. Don't think it's porn. It's not. It's not really. It's really not.
and
Stay away from
do you know what
perception.
what I get asked a lot, like, from non-Muslim like friends and stuff, they'll be like, no, but then how do you know you're gonna marry someone? Like you don't know what it's like with him. Like what if the first night you with him, you married and it's not good, or he has a small penis. I'm just like, you know what?
Wow.
It's a risk. Well, yeah, like the person, if you really like the person, it shouldn't matter, should it?
Well, it depends on how important is sex in a relationship, and the importance of sex in a relationship is defined by the two people in it. So there's not a universal scale of the importance of sex in a relationship. I do myself think that it's got some importance, because it's so we all have flaws, okay, and we all have insecurities, and many of those insecurities come from our bodies. We do see our bodies naked, and we do see imperfections. So being naked in front of someone else, uh, it means that we are opening ourselves and our
I just thought of
imperfection.
something funny when you said that. Last night I actually had a dream.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Tell us
it's
about
so
it.
embarrassing, but it's so funny. So I had a dream. I was with one of my crushes, and it was some
Okay.
like town in England. I don't know. I've never seen it before, and we were like hanging out and stuff. And he just like randomly he was like comparing his arm with mine, and I was like, oh, I my arm is hairier than yours.
All
And
right.
then he was like, oh no, feel my sideburns. And he like had no hair there. And I was like, oh my God, my sideburns are thicker than yours. It was so random. I was like, why are we comparing body hair in this dream? That is so weird. Yeah,
Oh,
so that was my
okay.
dream last
No,
night. I
no,
woke up
no.
laughing. I was just
Okay.
like, what the hell?
I actually had the very opposite dream. I dreamt about my mom being dead, and I started crying, and I woke up crying. Um, yeah.
Shame.
Yeah. So yeah.
Don't you find like when you have a dream about someone, whether it's a positive or negative dream, like when you wake up, you feel different towards that person? So, like if you have a dream like that your parents died, then like when you wake up, you're extra nice to them and you just like want to
Absolutely.
hug them and
Yeah.
stuff. And then,
When
like if you have a dream about your crush being mean to you, you just like, oh, F this guy. Like
okay,
he was
so
such a dick to me.
I've had this. Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yes, I went to my mom yesterday morning after having that dream, and I was super affectionate, super affective, and everything. I was hugging her and kissing her, and she said, "What's the matter?" And I said, "Oh, this is what I dreamt and everything." And she said, "No, no, no, that's actually good. When you dream about someone
Yeah.
dying, it means that they're not going to die." And
Oh,
so
oh my word. Do you know what my granny used to tell us? If you dream of someone dying, then then someone is going to get married. And if you dream of someone getting married, then someone's going to die.
right. So
It's just an old wives' tale. So someone's going to get married.
what if it's you? You did have that date with, I don't remember that boy, and it was someone fixed by your mum, I reckon. So maybe it's him.
She signed up with another matchmaker now for me.
Oh,
Yeah, by the way.
I think having a matchmaker company in your area is going to be very productive.
Yeah, my mother will keep them in business.
Yeah, but this last summer, I when I was in Switzerland, I did dream about having sex with an ex of mine, and when I woke up, I was like super affectionate, because of course I did like it in the dream.
Oh
And
no, did you text her?
no, not at all, not at all. I
Okay.
didn't. But funny enough, like a month later, she texted me, because I went on Instagram and did this Instagram story saying, okay, I dreamt about having sex with a an ex of mine. Does that mean anything? Just to be sure. And I've
And
had
she saw it and she messaged you.
she saw it, but she messaged me like a month later, and and another ex of mine actually saw it, and like a couple of weeks ago, asked me, okay, when you put that story during summer, was it about me? And I had to say no, it's not about that was a bit embarrassing, but yeah,
Shame.
whatever. But yeah, I mean, going back to relationships and sex, I think that the first time in everyone's life, it's a bit of a juxtaposition of being excited about this whole new thing coming into your life, and maybe being scared for different reasons. So for boys, when you go and lose your virginity, it happens usually in your teenage years, and there's all this conception about boys having to be, to overperform and things, and you do feel pressure in your first time, especially if your partner is not at the first time. So there is this pressure, and for girls as well, for different reasons. For
But I feel like the people who are most under pressure, or who would probably feel the most outcasted, would be people who are asexual,
yeah,
or on that spectrum, or even people who have not come out with their sexuality, and not comfortable talking about it yet, who are not comfortable in their bodies yet, and people asking them, oh, so when are you gonna find, just say it's a someone who identifies as a female, so people be like, oh, so when are you finding a boyfriend, or like when's your guy and then you think to yourself, like, what if I'm not even into men?
well,
Or like asexuals, you just don't feel like it's, you have no incline to sleep with people, like you just have absolutely no feeling for it, like, it's people will be like, oh, it's because you haven't found the one yet, but when you do, you'll want to do it with them. But it's not the case. Yeah, I actually know someone like this, and it's difficult because you can't, it's not something you can explain to people very easily.
um,
Or some people are just not comfortable, like, share, or not ready to share their status, and that's fine. Like, you shouldn't pressure anyone into doing anything. And what people do with their body is absolutely none of your business.
I do agree. I absolutely
Unless,
agree.
like, people are murdering, then, or like raping, or doing stuff without consent. I mean, then you can make it your business and get
That's even,
involved
yeah.
somehow. But if two people are consenting, or people are abstaining, it's none of your business.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
Although I do believe, like, if you are HIV or positive, or you have AIDS or some STD, you should disclose that information to your partner. Definitely.
yeah. And just to be clear, your partner has no right to make it public.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
if someone tells
But they
you,
do have a right to know.
no, 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 yes, they do have a right to know, and you should be legally obliged to disclose that information. But just saying, if you get told something like that, just don't go disclosing it publicly, because that's a private matter. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think teenage years are so messed up, sex
For
wise.
real. For real.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I say that we need sexual education. It's so if you think of it, of the progression of the idea of sex when you're a teenager and when you grow up, it's so different. The perception I myself have of sex now is not at all even near to the perception I had 10 years ago.
Oh,
Or,
definitely. I mean, your perception about everything changes, to be honest.
but I think that the perception about sex is the one that changes the most for very different reasons. I do not care about the pressure now, and we
Mm.
say that a lot, but again, guess what? It's patriarchy. Once again, the root problem of it all. Um, but I think that both patriarchy, the perception given by porn that it depicts this picture of sex being this outstanding performance that is required from both sides, doing outstanding things, and that's not how it works, really. Not at all. So, and let's not even touch on the fact that you need to have that talk, which now relies on your parents have actually having that talk. You know, be protected, and do not. I mean, mind some specific things. That's not. I mean, yes, your parents should say that, but that should be school, which should be teaching you these things. So yeah, like even wearing a condom. I keep seeing boys and girls going to the disco and not even using any kind of protection. That is dangerous. Thank God we don't have as many cases of HIV here in Europe as in other places in the world, but it's still dangerous. There's so many there's so many other problems. So
STDs.
yeah, STDs or even getting pregnant because you both were drunk and you end up ruining your life and maybe potentially ruining to a baby of yours and having to go through abortion at a very, very tiny age, which is not healthy at all. Um, and I don't know. Just to touch on that, I'm not against abortion. Abortion should. I'm not saying that. Just saying that biologically, having an abortion at a very young age is very unhealthy for the mother. Um, so yeah, that's why I think we do need sex education in every single school in the world. So, my first time, if you want to know my experience, was so
Yeah, I think that's what
messy.
we've all been waiting for.
Okay, so it was so messy. It was with a girlfriend of mine, and I was like 18 or 19, something like that, which at the time it was considered to be, late in my age. But another thing, do not care about what people say. You should have your first time whenever you feel comfortable, not when society dictates its time. But whatever, it was with a girlfriend of mine, and we went to a friend of mine's place for the night, and yeah, it happened that it was so messy. I was literally paralyzed. I wasn't doing anything right, and there were like 1,000 things in my mind running, and I think that has been my messiest performance ever in any field, not just sex. Um, but yeah, that's when I came to realize that sex was not how I thought it was. Not at all. There's not people jumping and ending up in some specific position and all things like that. No, that's not how it works. So your first time is going to be messy, and if it's the first time for a girl, just please listen to her and do not overextend. You are not this giga chad who's going to gift her the best night of her life. That's not how it works. Listen to her carefully and just, yeah, take it easy. Take it easy, because otherwise you could do some damage.
Yeah, interesting. That.
Yeah,
Did she cry? I mean, did you break up after that?
me.
Yeah.
No, no, because I was sincere with her. I was honest, and I said this is my first time, so maybe it's going to be messy or whatever, but it's my first time. So yeah, she knew that, and after that, having sex is all about knowing each other and what we like and what we don't like. There's not a specific book about how you should have sex because it all depends on the person you're with. That's why having sex with a random person on a one-off is far worse than having sex with your long-time partner, because with a partner you know each other, you know what you like, you know how to move, what you usually do, and which is not the case with a one night stand. So uh, I think I think after that, if I compare that first performance with the last one with with that uh, girlfriend of mine, I think so much changed, and we learned so much about each other. But it all comes down on the importance you give to sex. So, do you think sex is a important part of a relationship, or do you feel like it's whatever?
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I like the idea of people, but when it comes to getting close to someone, I just like, no, I can't do this.
Hmm.
Like physically or emotionally, I just, nope. Yeah, so just the idea of people appeals to me. But if they must talk to me,
Okay. Uh, it is. I mean, we all have an idea of the people who are around us and who can potentially be in our future. And does that I mean, you have an idea of your crush, for instance, which is never going to be. Sorry to break it to you, but it is never going to be 100% factual, is it?
no, obviously. Because you
So
don't actually know them. You
yeah,
just
exactly.
know what they project. Do you remember your first love?
Oh, I do, and so my first love, which actually ended up in a good manner, um, I do remember it. And okay, the question is, I reckon, how do you know it's love? So this is the big question. And I think you know it's love. I don't know. How do you know it? Have you ever been in love?
No, me.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Okay. Uh, I don't know. Um, I knew it was love when I paused Call of Duty to to reply to him. No, just kidding. No, no,
No.
no, no, no. I knew it was love when I actually was out of of the country. I was back in Morocco, and I was at this night out, and there were actually many um, nice and fancy girls, and we were all having fun and everything. But kept on thinking about her, about that specific girl, and I think that's when I knew it was love. When I thought, okay, I don't care about anyone who's here now, but I'm willing to sacrifice the present for the future. So when you find yourself making some sacrifices in the present for the future, I think that's when you know it's love, maybe, because you're willing, to give up on something you would like at the moment for something you would like in the future with someone else.
But you think it's like really giving up or it's actually compromising? You sacrifice something for the other person.
So the line between compromise and sacrifice is a bit blurry at times. You can call it compromise. I call it sacrifice, but in a good manner. If you want a good future, for instance, you are going to sacrifice yourself in the present, for instance, so to do some things you don't like in order to have something in the future. That's why I call it sacrifice. So if you when I was there and I was having fun, I was willing to not have 100% fun as I conceive it.
100% fine.
Yeah, maybe have just 50% or even 40% of fun, and in order to have something else in the future. That's why I call it a sacrifice. Now, we weren't, to be fair, we weren't even together at the time, so I was completely entitled to do whatever I wanted, but I chose not to. And yeah, I mean, we make different sacrifices. We're not all Nabil making this kind of sacrifice, but I think when you are willing to give up something in the present for the future with someone else, I think that's when you should start thinking maybe it's more than just a crush.
And your first breakup?
Um, my first breakup was so messy. Um, we were. I remember we started arguing for some time before breaking up, and I did have to break up with her eventually. And when I said, okay, we've been arguing for a month now, things are not going how we want. I think it's time we part our ways. And she said something which you should never say to anyone, please. Not even just to threaten them. Whatever the result you would like to get, do not ever say that. And she said, if you break up with me, I'm going to kill myself. And yeah,
Yeah.
and I actually trusted her. I said, okay, not going to break up with you. Calm down. So if you want, I'm going to stay here by your side, but you need to see someone and some psychologist. How's it called? And you need to get yourself checked mentally and internally.
Oh, yes, this was a story you told in one of our previous
Yeah.
episodes.
And yeah, so we continued for a couple of weeks, and I said, right, I asked you to go and see someone because that's not something you should be saying, and I'm taking you seriously, but you need to take yourself seriously. And she said, okay, no, I didn't mean that and everything. I said, okay, then I think it's time we part our ways. So we did break up, and she did try to make contact, coming to the same library I used to study in, and I found her at the grocery store here near my place, while she lives like 20 minutes from here, and she has a grocery store next to her. And she tried to say, okay, no, let's restart everything. And no, never get back with your ex-girlfriend. That's hardly going to work. So I don't know, just from my experience, I would like to have someone say, no, it can work. So if you have, yeah, like if you're with an ex-girlfriend of yours and it's working out, please reach out, because I need to hear that. I need to know that. But yeah, that was my first breakup. Worst breakup ever.
Imagine your first being your worst. So I remember the first time someone asked me to marry them. I was like 17,
Wow.
and I was so young. I was just out of school. And also like I'd never spoken to this person in real life before. So this guy, we went to their house because it's like
Mm-hmm.
family and family. Anyways, I'm not going to go into detail. Anyways, so we were at these people's house, and this guy was like, every time he saw me, it was so weird. Like, he was cute, he was cute. And the family is super, super rich.
Wow.
Anyways, so they had like a big house, and this guy was like, he was cute. But every time he saw me, like, he'd just leave the room. And I was like, what is this weird behavior? I think, yeah, I was 17. Anyway, so went home that night, blah, blah, blah. And he started talking to me on Facebook. So I was like, but you just kept leaving the room
Wow.
when I was there. And he was like, oh, so you noticed that? I was like, who doesn't notice weird behavior? Yeah, and then he's like, what's your favorite color? I was like, what the F?
Wow.
Anyways, I ignored him, and then couple days, weeks, months later, I think, he was like, oh, why don't you marry me, and I'll make sure you never have to work a day in your life, and I'll take care of you. And I was just like, but I want to study. I just started studying. I have plans for the future. I mean, looking back at it now, I would not mind that life of not working.
Oh.
But
No,
anyways,
I would never.
the way he approached it, and it was all on Facebook. What the hell?
Wow.
And I was like, no, sorry.
I've,
Anyways, last time I checked, he's married to someone else now, living
oh,
overseas. Good for him.
yes. Oh, really happy for the chap. Oh, he got
Yeah,
what he
shame.
wanted. I did promise myself to marry a girl some years ago, and it didn't end up well. But we were on the verge of that, so yeah, thank God it didn't happen.
My whole thing, so now with this whole pandemic and everything being virtual, is it the same? So you get people who say that by meeting someone online, you're talking to them, phone calls, video calls, that's getting to know them. So people are like, no, but you have to meet them in person to know them. I get that, because then obviously, there's like there's obviously like the physical connection that you can't get on a screen. But do you think it's valid in saying that you do know the person by talking to them on a screen or virtually?
That's tricky. I don't think so. I mean, yes, you do know the mental and psychological side of a person before the physical, maybe. But at the same time, people behave differently in front of a screen and in person. So I would say I do partly agree with that, because on a screen you never know 100% the person you're talking to. That is true.
So it's like if you meet in person, it's like a confirmation.
Yes.
I think it's possible for people to fall in love virtually, and then meeting in person just cements that.
Yeah, I mean, it is possible, of course. We end up falling in love not because of just the physical side, but because of the mental side. And when you talk, you literally give more importance to the mental side rather than the physical side. So it is possible. What I say is, the person you end up meeting later, yes, it can cement that, but it can also, in some ways, deteriorate that, and the person who we interact with virtually is not the same we will be interacting with in real life. That's how I see it, and that's from my experience mainly. I've had long distance relationships, which were born online, and then we met in person. And the person I ultimately ended up meeting was a bit different from the person I was talking to virtually. So, yeah.
Catfish. Personality catfish.
Yeah, I mean, there are some things you can, mainly insecurities, you can hide when talking in front of a screen, but you can't really hide them in real life. Because, as I said, we all have if, let's talk about imperfections. As I said, we have imperfections in our bodies. We all have, and when you find yourself in real life with that person, you end up thinking of your imperfections mainly for the first time, and you want to hide those imperfections, and and you end up behaving differently. So I've had like a friend of mine saying, when I talk to people here on Twitter or even in video calls on Skype and whatever, I'm one person, but when I meet them in real life, I'm just stuck and I don't know what to say. So you can end up being in love virtually, but when you meet for the first time, I think many things are going to change. So it's completely okay to have an idea of a person, but do not let that idea go over reality. Um, that's all I can suggest. I've made that mistake and it ended up badly. So yeah.
How many messy situations have you been in?
Oh, too many, too
Jeez.
many, too many. Well, once I've been dumped. Once I met this girl, and I'm from Florence, and she was from Rome, and I took a train and went down to Rome. It's like 2 hours on a train, and I went there, and I was planning to spend the day there, and she just dumped me on my way there. So I just went to Rome and
What?
had a walk by myself, and got back to Florence in the evening. So yeah, that's why I say the person we meet online ultimately is never going to be just like the person we meet in real life. That girl
Yeah.
who,
Sometimes I wonder if sometimes people can be better than they are online. Like people don't really reply much online, but if you meet them in person, they, actually super great. I feel like I'm that person.
yeah, I mean, I think I think people are always going to be better in real life than online. Online, as we see internet nowadays, it's still kind of a far waste. So we use it to express rage rather than love. For instance, we all
Yeah.
have more arguments than agreements online. So I think that internet brings out the worst part of every single human being. So I ultimately think that every single person is better in real life rather than online. That's why I love meeting people in real life, because that's the real them. So yeah.
Although there's like, oh, in this country, there's just, deaded options. I don't know. It's just like, I, I'm talking like romantically, or like, if you meet someone online, I don't know. They take their real life characters and it doesn't translate well online, and it's just this huge mess.
Hmm.
Anyways, yeah, I saw this guy, my first Tinder date. This guy was on his phone the entire time. And he's like, no, it's work stuff, and I was just so annoyed with him and whatever. Anyways, so I see that he is now engaged to someone else. Good for him.
Oh, that's so disrespectful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, okay, no, to be clear, sometimes people are better online. I mean, sometimes you get like perverts are in some ways. I don't think there's a good side in them.
People act brave. I think people act brave on the internet or like over text, or
Yeah,
they think they can just say whatever and they're like be like super sexual with you on text and stuff, but then in person they just like awkward.
yeah. We here in Italy we call them leoni da tastiera, which means keyboard lions. And yeah, because they're so brave online, I mean, you tweet something, they come there and they start insulting you and being these giga chads and giving you this big dick energy, but then they're just they're just no one, and they know that, and there's some kind of frustration they need to get out. So I do actually, I do actually feel for them because that must be hard to deal with all that frustration. I think it always comes out of
And
truth.
people you're not even talking to who just argue with you unprovoked. I'm just like, go do something else
Yeah,
on with your life on the internet. I'm not gonna entertain you with the response.
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's completely fine to text someone, but no one is obliged to reply. So if you're on Instagram and you see a pretty girl in your Insta stories and you text her wanting no matter what, it's completely fine as long as you don't harass her. But do not feel like she must and she's obliged to reply to you. Not at all. So because I've seen even this morning I was seeing some screenshots of people saying, oh, hello, why are you not replying? That's not kind. Yeah, piss off. That's not how it works.
Or they like, if you don't respond to them for like a few days, they'll be like, how are you?
Yeah,
Just don't. I hate that. Like,
read
don't
the
ask me
room. Read the
that.
room.
Oh,
Yeah, but yeah, it's I think all we can take from this episode is first of all, your perception of sex needs, in 90% of the cases, needs to be reevaluated. So, and don't care, piss off the all the pressure given by society. If you're a boy, you are not obliged to go with every single person who enters the room, and if you're a girl, you can go with whoever you want. I mean, both of them. This applies to both of them. You're not.
I mean, even if you are non-binary
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
gender
Of course,
fluid,
everyone.
applies to every
Yeah,
single Homo sapien.
yeah. And even monkeys. If you're listening to this podcast, do whatever you want. Not just Homo sapiens. I think every single being on this planet should be entitled to do whatever they want, as far as
As long as you
consent.
have
Yeah.
consent,
Um,
yeah, and if the person is willing to accommodate
yeah.
you,
Don't go over the line. And yeah, that's actually quite easy. And shake off all the pressure. The
yeah.
pressures.
Don't be pressured into doing things you're not ready for. Don't be pressured into doing things you don't want to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it will save you a lot of grief further down the line. Don't let people force you into being in a relationship you're not ready for. Don't let people pressure you into coming out with your sexuality. Yeah, just be a decent being. Just be decent, be nice, be accommodating, be empathetic. Yeah, and it'll make life a lot easier. So, what are your birthday plans this weekend?
I think, yeah, it's on Sunday. So I think I'm going to have lunch with my parents and maybe go for a coffee with some friends. Nothing much, really. I hope I can take a day off work. If I can manage that, I want to. wake up in the morning. I like to wake up early to profit from the whole day. I'm going to wake up early, read a book until lunch, have lunch, read a book, go out with friends, come back, read a book, go to sleep. That's what I want to do, nothing else. I'm literally going to turn off every single phone, computer, tablet, every single thing, and just have a day for myself. That's the best present I could give myself.
That sounds like a good idea. You need that.
Thank you. Thank you. You're saying I'm overstressed. No, I am. It's completely fine. So
Yeah.
what's your song of the week?
Ooh, my song of the week. Let's have a theme of love songs. I listen to a lot of love songs for someone who doesn't love a lot of people. Yeah, and who doesn't love. I mean, I do, like, I'm a romantic, but for me personally, so my song of the week, something that's been on replay, it's Division and what's his face? Miguel. It's called He Says.
Okay.
It's such a chill tune. The whole album actually is beautiful. It's very calming, soothing.
Okay.
Good album.
My song of the week is a song by the rock band Yes, and it's called "Owner of a Lonely Heart."
Okay.
You should know it. The first time I listened to it, it was when I was like a kid, because it was in GTA Vice City, and it goes like.
If I hear it, I'll probably know it.
It goes like "Owner of a Lonely Heart." You have, yeah.
I don't know if I just don't know the song, or if you're singing it off tune.
No. I'm singing off tune. I'm the worst singer ever. But yeah, I mean, it's very popular. It's great. "Owner of a Lonely Heart." I deeply love it.
Okay, we're gonna add that to our Just Tunes playlist.
Yes, go on Spotify and you can find the Just Tune playlist, which with all the songs of the week we bring on every single week.
I update.
Okay.
I update it every week.
Well, it's been one hell of an episode, one hell of a ride. So we wish you a very nice weekend, a very nice week. Take time for yourself. Stay safe, as always. Wear a mask, as always, and
wash your hands.
Yeah.
For 20 seconds with soap. Sanitize.
Yeah. Just be cool, be chill. And yeah, see you next week. Bye-bye.
And happy birthday.
Oh, thanks. If you're listening on Sunday, it's my birthday. Bye-bye.
Bye.